I've made a lot of contentious videos about alpha gurus who are trying to preach to you a way to make money, and all it's going to cost you is, well, money. So pay them.
Shut up and take my money!
And I've made these videos kind of in a way that's highlighting the falsities, the falsitudes, the bullshit, basically, of what those guys talk about. Be it Amanda Boosie, Wes Watson, or any of the other collective, they're all over the place, and they look all different shapes, colors, and sizes. So here's some very clear reasons as to why I do talk so much shit on these individuals. Now, if you don't know, I paid over $40,000 for courses myself back in the heyday when I thought that was the answer to my own success. I made the mistakes, I did the time, and yeah, it didn't teach me anything. In fact, it actually taught me negative things. I didn't learn anything but to get depressed and mad at myself for spending so much money on a service that was just inadequate. And this wasn't just one coach, mind you. I paid a lot of different people, a lot of different money to try to find answers on how to get a business to $1 million.
I'm getting stuff like this. That car don't matter. Discipline to go cause you to get everything you want to acquire. And that's what I want to bring to you guys. I'm going to be your mentor, your coach. Money and Muscle Tribe, hey, we take it over. We want everybody to get rich, healthy, and wealthy.
And never once did I find a solution or have a direct answer or a direct guide to get there. I just had some generic information that a 6-year-old could have popped into ChatGPT and gotten a similar answer. And my point with this video is to show you exactly why you shouldn't invest in these individuals all the same. Now, before I get started, I do hope that you subscribe. It helps me out massively, whether you're into fitness, besmirching business gurus, or anything else around the genre of social media mockery. This is the place for you. Trying to get to 20K subscribers as fast as I can, which is proving to be much more lengthy of a process than most other YouTubers on this space, interestingly, but I hope you're here to help and not hinder. And also, if you're interested in any kind of fitness guidance, we do have a school community down below. It's free to access. We have unlimited workout guides there. We have nutritional guides, basically everything you could ever ask for, along with the community. Should help you get pretty jacked in no time. So reason one that you want to hate these people: fake money. You have to understand that a lot of these people have deep equity. They may look fancy now, but in 20 years, they're going to be hurting, paying off the loans that they took out to get all of the nice things. And please, let me tell you firsthand, you can buy something that is extremely nice and it's going to depreciate like crazy. And that's kind of what these guys are doing. See, they're not buying real estate. They're not buying stocks. They're not investing their money into a 401k or a Roth IRA. They're investing their money into depreciating assets, clothing, cars, jewelry, and things that are going to sell far less than what they paid for them. And that is what generates a massive amount of negative equity. If they were buying homes and flexing that as their opportunity to garner more cash, then they might have something of substance. But right now, man, most of these guys just flex shitty luxury cars that depreciate about 35 to 50% as soon as they roll off the lot. They paid $500,000 for something that they just lost $250,000 on as they pulled out of the driveway, which is crazy to think about.
He's got the Bugatti, he's got the cars, and one of the craziest mansions I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't just have a normal Bugatti. It's a pure sport, custom color, custom everything, custom spec. That's not a normal Phantom, that's a Mansory Phantom. That's not a normal G-Wagon, that's a Brabus G-Wagon. I'm built different.
And we've talked about this before on this channel, but most of the millionaires out there, as somewhere upwards of 80%, drive Toyotas. This is a great study done, and it's a very true testament to how these people can just be a big front. It's a marketing scheme.
So a lot of people think that if you drive a supercar, generally speaking, you're kind of loaded.
If you're driving a supercar that's less than 5 years old, you should not assume that person has a lot of money. That is
really?
Yeah. If they're driving, an iconic vintage or significant car, something that's 10, 20, 30, 40 years old, for sure, there's a really good chance because those are harder to finance. But if they've got a brand new Huracan, no.
Interesting. Didn't the Dave Ramsey millionaire study show that most millionaires drive Toyotas?
Yeah, Toyotas, Hondas, and the F-150 pickup trucks.
But no, what these guys will tell you is that renting a home is going to be better than buying one because you don't have all these expenses and nothing to tie you down, and a bank is just going to owe you. So what's the difference between renting selling and buying and all this bullshit nonsense. Well, this is a pretty simple thing to just completely tear apart. One, when you buy a home, you can legally do whatever you want with it. Tear it down, rent it out, make a business out of it. And so that's exactly what most people do who are interested into making money. They're either going to tear it down, remodel something completely new, and then sell that as a luxury home, or two, they're going to rent it out and become somewhat of a slumlord. They're going to sell out their homes to people who are willing to pay rent that can't afford down payments right now, which is most everybody in our demographic, and make money on the monthly reoccurring revenue from that rent. And in return, what do they get? Well, a monthly income on top of an appreciating asset, something that's going to gain value over time. And while they might have a few fees here and there, they're going to completely be muddied by the amount of profit that they make each year, and on top of that, the equity built in that property. You can talk to me about this because I've owned over 4 homes. Oh, sorry, 4 homes as of right now. So I kind of understand how this method works. But here's another interesting factoid is renting out a place limits your total ability to put a down payment on a fancy home. You see, these people are renting out homes that are multi-millions of dollars, multi-billions in Wes Watson's case. And they might tell you that, hey, you know what? I'm still spending the money. I'm still making it. I'm still good. But the truth of the matter is a 10% down payment on a home like that is going to be a couple million of dollars. It's not going to be just a handful of tens of thousands. It's going to be millions. And if they really wanted to invest their money and make money on that, they would be okay with paying insurance on a yearly basis, paying for taxes on a yearly basis, and on top of that, paying for that down payment. Oddly enough, none of them do this, and makes me question if they even have that liquid cash to pay a down payment up front. And then they also might talk about how, well, they don't want to buy appreciating assets because they're just going to cost you more, and the amount of money you make having those things is so irrelevant compared to the amount of money they make on a daily basis. But this is also just so fraudulent.
How did you go from making 7 to 8 figures? A lot of entrepreneurs will have that great idea. They don't know how to scale.
This is what I did differently than every other entrepreneur in my space. Get around motherfuckers who think it's okay to have $500,000 a month in expenses, $1 million a month in expenses. Get around who pay 50 G's to fly to the speaking event and come back in the same fucking day. The richest people, they're not afraid to use money as a tool to grow their wealth, to grow their earned income, not only passive. A lot of people just talk about passive income. Earned income is what the top people have. We talk about Bezos, we talk about Musk. We're not saying, hey, his real estate portfolio. We're like, Amazon makes X amount a day.
What is your best self-improvement advice for people trying to get their life on track? They want to become financially free and successful like yourself.
The 2 things in life I tell people: be the man you always needed, be the customer you want. Buy fast. Don't ask a bunch of questions. Don't be a headache. And that's what my company's based on. The company's based on the fact that I'll never miss.
If you don't understand how to make money while you're sleeping, you're going to be broke for the rest of your life. And all these guys are chasing the money right now. They're chasing it every single day. If they stop producing content, if they become irrelevant, their money stops. But they can't invest any of it either because they have to flex online. So where does that go? And the fees that come with owning a house or an appreciating asset, they are paling in comparison to the appreciation of that asset. I owned a house for 2 years and easily, look, I don't want to talk about my finances, but made a lot of money. And you could too. If you just bought a house, paid for it for 2 years, and then sold it, you would make money. Basically, anywhere you would live, you would make money. Now's a little bit of a sketchy time. I don't recommend buying a house. The interest rates are a bit rough right now. Maybe wait it out for another year, but you get the point. Instead of essentially making money from their money, they're losing money from their money. And I know this sounds really confusing, but let me explain. A Ferrari depreciates 100 grand after it leaves the lot on average, but the payment stays the same. The interest rate stays the same. And you have to have the best and newest stuff to flex online. So, well, in 2 years, you got to trade that thing in when the market value has completely changed for it. So what do? Well, you roll over negative equity into that vehicle. And so now the new vehicle that costed something around $300,000 is going to cost you upwards of $600,000. The payments go up just as well, and you are making just enough to scrape by so that life seems okay. You can fork out the cash for these payments, and because luxury car brands have ridiculous incentives to get these cars off of their lots, sometimes extending payment periods beyond tens of years, literally insane styles of payment periods, you can get it done. But when you lose the looks, you lose the muscle, you lose the internet virality, well, there goes your car payment because your business is dying. A reasonable lifestyle, because all of your money is going going into a retarded car payment that is doing you no good.
How often is it that someone comes in and you know they're just making a terrible financial decision, that this person like can technically qualify, but it's not smart whatsoever?
In terms of like a financial decision where somebody is really in a rough spot, again, most of the time those people are stretching so hard to be able to buy these cars, and they know, and they're all well aware, like, I can't sell this car because I have so much negative equity that I'm rolling from the next one. I had this guy, nicest guy in the world, just had kind of a normal job and had owned an Aston Martin DB9 for a really long time. And so he owed effectively $100,000 on a $50,000 car because Astons depreciate like crazy. And he didn't want to put much money down. And so he just wanted to have a newer car. And that's a hard thing to do because effectively, if you're trading a $50,000 car for a $150,000 car, you can adjust the numbers up. So you get $100 for your trade and you pay $200 for the new car. And so you're still paying the same $100,000 delta. Now, he owed at that point at least $100 more than that car was going to be worth immediately.
Reason 2 you should hate most of these guys is that time tells all tales and we just haven't seen time unfold yet. You might feel bad now. They're flexing in front of you and you have nothing that they have. But what you see right now isn't what you'll see in 10 years. You might actually be in the future making millions from the investments you made into an S&P fund or a Roth IRA or something safe, right? And that's really great because you've secured yourself an amazing lifestyle 20 years or 30 years down the road. While those kids on TikTok or Instagram, well, they have somebody's money now, but in the future, where is that income going to keep coming from? They're going to be begging on TikTok lives, doing stupid shit by the time they're 40 years old just to maintain any kind of income because they're trying to hold on desperately to their relevance online. All the while, you might have a happy family, kids that you're celebrating with, going on vacations and enjoying a fulfilled life, not just a lonely and cruel life. Yet these influencers are trying to scrape together their broken relationships and keep the pennies that they have in their pockets as much as they can. While we often do judge a book by its cover, it really isn't that great of an idea here because you'll never really know where you'll end up. Someone could be broke today, but that's because they're investing thousands of dollars into particular investments, which are netting them massive compounding interest over the next 10 years, and then you'll see them driving their car of their dreams. Meanwhile, the flip of the coin is also true. The individuals that you see now flexing their cars that have astronomical payments and their lifestyles, which are unsustainable, well, they're going to be quite literally in the dumps trying to survive the best way they know possible by panhandling. That much I can promise you. Reason 3 you should hate these folks is the facade of coaching. Let's say that these people make all of their money from coaching. Online coaching is where their income streams are derived from. And let's just say, like many of them have, in a certain instance, I'm using one individual here to quote this, but they own all of the following: a leased house, which is $30,000 a month, a bought Phantom at $500,000, Lamborghini for $350,000, and clearly much more, which I'm not accounting for. In the real world, that means you need to make about double what you've spent to comfortably afford these things. So we are basically talking somewhere around the realm of $2 million a year for these individuals online. And to be very honest with you, compared to what some CEOs or many other high-level entrepreneurs are making, this isn't much money. But when we're talking about online coaching, let me explain this in a very clear way. You would need to have an astronomical amount of clients to sustain this rate of income. So let's just say they sell a really high-ticket fitness coaching program. It's going to cost you $1,000 a month. Per client, they're paying $1,000 a month. That would mean that you would need about 166 clients per month paying with a low churn rate, meaning you're having very little clients leaving because they're so extremely satisfied with your course or coaching. This calculation is also without paying taxes. So let's say that you're legitimately paying taxes, you would lose about 30% or more of that total income, which leaves you with $1.4 million a year. And so you would have to go back to the drawing board and make a few $100,000 more, in which you need about 50 more paying clients at that 1K mark. So now we're sitting around 216 clients paying you $1,000 a month with no churn at all. And I can't help but leave myself with a simple question. How does one one manage all of those clients? How do they provide a service that's $1,000 a month worthy? Even with assistant coaches, which is the business model that I have, essentially I'm a main coach, I have 2 assistant coaches, and then a team for marketing on top of that. Even with that, how do you sustain that many clients with that great of a service to limit churn rate at that price point? But not only that, you still have to pay employees. So we're talking even more clients to counter the cost of your overhead, which is going to even more significantly increase your workload. And at that point, is the quality of service even worth it when you're spread so thin? Is it really even going to be something that can effectively help someone at paying a ridiculous price of $1,000 a month? Or maybe they just sell you high ticket programs to enrich themselves, with those programs being less about fitness and more about business. Yet in the programs, they teach you little to nothing. However, like I said, it's the thing that enriches them. What's more viable? Is it that they became an expert fitness coach and were able to coach hundreds and hundreds of people at extremely high ticket prices? Or was it that they robbed people who are so interested in becoming rich to gain their riches that they've been able to afford a pretty ridiculous lifestyle? Reason 4 you should hate these folks is because you aren't going to find success with cheat codes. Now, you might be able to do that brown nosing with the right kind of people, but here in the real world where we don't have those kind of people around us all of the time, we got to make things work for ourselves. So my honest advice for anyone struggling right now to figure out what they need to do to succeed is that maybe you just need to sit in a room alone by yourself for 30 minutes to an hour. You can probably figure out where you need to go to get to your dreams on your own without paying anybody anything. And let me explain here. When you're trying to decide what you need to do to make more money, oftentimes the answers already lie within you. One person once said that a man's problems are all created because he can't sit in a room by himself for 30 minutes. No music, no phone, no people, no distractions, just him and a notebook. Write it out, being heavily caffeinated, and figure out what you need to do with your life, or at least postulate it. It won't take you long to come up with a plan in this environment. Then you don't stop there, you simply engage on that plan. Of course, you don't know if it's the right or wrong plan, but engaging or action is wildly more worth it than having a good plan. Essentially, you just got to take that plan by the balls and fucking implement the thing. And you will fail, I promise you. That's okay. Failure is the first attempt in learning. Look at my YouTube channel. It is literally a series of videos that are a failure after failure after failure. I'm sitting here failing in front of you with this video probably. But this is a good thing because it helps you refine the process. It helps you understand what you need to do to be better for the next time. And what you might find just by sitting by yourself and contemplating these things is that the dream that you want to achieve isn't the one with Bugattis, escort girls, or a high rise, but it's one with a very isolated and normal lifestyle with a hell of a woman beside you and a few kids. In that case, it's not worth going through a life of stress just to meet this goal that you've been injected with from social media. And the last reason 5 that you should hate these douchebags is that, well, you're better than that. You, honestly, should choose to have security within yourself, not having security within your material items, a common flaw that you'll see with all of these individuals. And they'll swear you up and down that they don't have insecurities and that the items are just because they're so rich they can buy whatever they want. But we look at all sorts of people all over the world who are multimillionaires or billionaires. I mean, if you just look at Elon Musk, what car does he drive? I know people feel a certain type of way about him, but let's just look at the facts. He's one of the richest men in the world, yet he drives the car that he manufactured, a Model S. That's the only car he's ever driven. That's the only car he owns. Why doesn't he own a Ferrari or a Rolls-Royce Phantom or any of these nice and crazy things? Probably because his ego doesn't need to fulfill that dream. He has security in other things. Maybe it's the actual design that he made for the vehicle, and that's why he drives it every day. But my point is that they don't have to manufacture importance from material goods. They can have importance within themselves through some capacity. Or they've done massive things for the world or for themselves, but in a sort of world-dominating effect. You see the current market right now with business owners somehow operating at government levels, but it is what it is. They're probably a lot more fulfilled with the things that they're they're doing due to the heights they've reached than a freaking Bugatti. And I think what it really comes down to is you need to realize if you didn't have a phone, if you didn't have laptops, if Instagram didn't exist, if TikTok wasn't a real thing, you would be thriving because all you would know is your own life. All you would know is the pursuit of what makes you happy, not other people. All you'd be focused on is the girl next door and not the girl 1,000 miles away. You'd be caring about the pickup truck that your neighbor drives and not the Bugatti that some rando drives in Miami. You would care about what is in your own lane, and simply put, that is far more achievable and likely realistic compared to what we see online. Essentially, you need to have security in yourself and what is around you. Understand that, and you might just find a center of happiness. That doesn't mean you can't be uber successful. You can still do that, but understanding your own environment and where you can be successful within that environment and the access points to thrive is probably more important than focusing on access points that you don't even have to your disposable availability like other people do online. And that's really all this has ever been with these business coaches, is psychological warfare. Sadly, this video won't go viral. Most of my content won't go viral, which is really unfortunate, but hopefully it can help some of you not spend thousands of dollars on a shitty program and instead invest that money on yourself, because these lames are really just infesting all social media spaces right now in women's lives and males' lives and basically everywhere you can turn. Fitness, gambling, it's crazy. But in the meantime, if you want a cheap option to help you out with business, fitness, and all those other things, I'm not going to sell you a multi-$1,000 course. I'm just going to offer you a free group down below. We do have fitness programs available for free in there that you can download right now. We change them out every month. We have a complete course on bodybuilding anatomy. We have a course entirely built out on nutrition. We have courses on basically OTC supplements, over-the-counter supplements. And we do have a course on business. This is specifically for people who are looking to become fitness coaches though. And it should give you the skills required to at least start your business, get it on the ground running, and make some money. But I'm not going to promise you to make, I don't know, millions of dollars a month. $10,000 a month. You're going to make as much as you put into it. The work has to be done. I can't promise you a really ridiculous dollar amount. We'll catch you in the next video.